Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
Hey, I'm Kristian Barbarich. You might know me from Heartbreak Island, a little New Zealand show. You might know me from just being a bit of a fuckhead on Instagram. I own a sunglasses company. I enjoy photography, and that's about me. Heartbreak Island was weird for me because when I got cast for it, if you ask any of my friends or my family or anything, they'd be like, he's the last person in the world to go on reality TV. That was just not me at all. And I actually got cast while I was working on a startup company with one of my best friends. And he's the reality TV type. He was sitting there in his interview. It was like the last stage before actually making it to the show. And I was in the other room and I went to print something off, and we were obviously like wearing a suit and everything. I walked through to the printer to grab, it was just some sort of report. And the casting agent that was on the Skype call to my friends, like, whoa, 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 who's that? Made me walk back into the scene. And he's like, okay, you need to go put in an application right now. I'll make sure it goes through. And that's how I got cast. So that was a weird strike of luck, I guess, because that was just not anything I was about. And I ended up meeting my best friend Harry on the show. And basically, for the last 4 years, we've been inseparable. Like absolutely joined at the hip. So when I think about how much it's changed my life, and how much I've like kind of diverted, actually significant. Yeah, so I did the show. That was great. It was they're a bit of a roller coaster. Like you've got to be mentally prepared for them because obviously you have like a good sense of self and like of who you are, but they can cut and edit it in any way they want, and they can present whichever little snippet of your personality to a wide audience. And so you end up having a large amount of people thinking they know you, which conflicts with your sense of self, right? And it can be stressful. That's why you see a lot of like reality TV people get stressed, depressed, all those things. And I was like, you know what? I had fun, but I'm done for a while. But I've had like 3 shows in the last month or so all come forward and approach me. So we're in conversations with them at the moment. So I could get involved again. I think it's about time. That's the worst part about reality TV. There's so much because most of the time, it's filmed and then displayed months later. My friend Harry filmed Too Hot to Handle, and I think that aired an entire year later. So he had all of his friends on the show. He had his girlfriend from the show, all of that. That he just had to keep absolute radio silence on because the contracts are so intense and so binding. So he had to just hide his life for an entire year. So that's probably the hardest part. That was crazy. So me and my friend Harry, he had just filmed the show. We had been in New Zealand I'd been in New Zealand my whole life. He had been in New Zealand for like 2-3 years. And just with the whole thing about him and I being on Heartbreak Island, and New Zealand's a small country, everyone kind of got to know us. And it just got to that point where it felt like we needed a change. Like we kind of knew everyone. We'd exhausted all of our business resources. Nothing was really inspiring there anymore. And we were talking. We're like, do we move to Australia or do we move to LA? And we're like, well, it's going to be the same amount of effort to do both. So we may just reach a little further, go for the ballsier move. And so we decided to move to LA, and we did that. I think we moved 3 weeks after that. So we just dropped our lives entirely. We hadn't like planned for it before that, but we dropped our lives, moved country, and just frantically sorted out all the visa stuff on the fly. It was nuts. My parents were sad, but you got to do what you got to do. So I'd come here once before on holiday, but for like a week. And I'll still, like, to this day, I'll be driving down like Sunset Boulevard. And there's just this section where you drive past a lot of iconic buildings. And I keep like almost pinching myself. I'm like, this is crazy that this is my home now. Like, I'm just so used to like small town New Zealand, and I'm just driving past all these things that you just see in movies and games and all that stuff over the years. So that was crazy. In terms of culture shocks, food's really different here. Tipping was we we don't really. I mean, you'll tip at like a dinner in New Zealand, but that's like it, because we pay our workers our workers properly. So there were a lot of weird things. I'm just trying to think what was the strangest thing off the top of my head. I mean, you Americans are definitely a little odd. Oh, okay. There's one thing. Your guys' parking meters here. I feel like it's such a waste of space. So in New Zealand, there'll be like a section of 10 to 20 parks that are all serviced by one parking meter, and it either prints you out a ticket that you put like on your dashboard, or you just enter your license plate number, and then you don't have to like walk back to your car. And it just makes so much more sense, because there's just one little like standing thing. Whereas here, every single park has a pole and the little meter that you either put your car. Like, I'm just like, that's a lot for every single car. So I feel like there are so many things here that are like old technology, and because it's just such it's an older country and it's got all these traditions, that they just haven't really caught up with it. Also, your guys' politics are crazy. So I've been going to the beach a little bit, and it's been nice. It's a good, yeah, it has kind of the feel of home. There's a few crazies down there, but that's all right. Oh, the other craziest thing coming here is just all the famous people. And you become so like normalized to it. I mean, like, for instance, I'm like a closeted gaming nerd, right? I'm just, I've always liked gaming and just nerdy things. And so I've obviously always known, like, I don't know if you know who the FaZe Clan is or anything like that, but they're big, like the most famous esports team in the world, essentially. And they were like always like mentally like my idols, like people I looked up to. And come out here and just become best mates with all of them. And you just see just famous people, YouTubers, everything, everywhere. And it becomes so normal, and you just realize that they're just people. But in New Zealand, they're all kind of larger than life. So it's wild to like feel that transition there. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but a lot of the YouTubers like Logan Paul, like all of them, David Dobrik, all of that crew, if you know who they are, they're huge. Like any kind of younger person ask, and they'll be like their idols. But all of them, all the YouTube crowd, all the TikTokers, and then all the athletes. Like, I've met so many bloody NBA people, like American football players, so I've never watched a game of American football in my life, but apparently they're big deals. And yeah, so it's just, they all move here and live here, and you just see them every day, and you're like, fuck, that's crazy. Especially when dining was open, it would be like, we would eat at this place Catch a Lot, and I'm pretty sure every single time we were there, Jamie Foxx was there. He must love that place. I think he must have just eaten there every single night. He'd be there regularly, like DiCaprio. Harry's friends with Justin Bieber. And we were driving one day home from breakfast, pulled up at we saw Bieber drive past with his wife, and we pulled up to the lights. Bieber literally like pulled a U-turn, pulled up because he like recognized Harry from afar, and just had a full chat next to us at the lights. I was like, that was one of the most like weird, surreal, like celebrity interactions I've ever had. So I actually made, Harry and I made our sunglasses company off the back of finishing filming for Heartbreak. So we were chatting, we were like, okay, well, we want to be businessmen, we want to get into business. And we're like, what's a need? Like, what's something that we want and we've been struggling to get or whatever. And at the time, and especially in New Zealand, it was getting affordable eyewear that was kind of fashion forward and everything. We didn't like any of the competitors out there, and we didn't want to go buying like Ray-Bans or anything like that. So like, screw it, let's make it ourselves. Let's start designing some glasses, and let's make a frame that, you can be proud of, you look fashionable in, you feel confident in, but you're not going to be sad about if you lose it over the side of the boat in summer. They're not going to break the bank, whatever like that. So we said, screw it, we're flying to China and we're going to build this. We got stuck in, and I think we're about a year and a half in, maybe almost 2 years in. We made a lot of progress, but we had to shut down temporarily in coronavirus, just because international shipping, which are the majority of our orders, were taking 3 months due to all the airlines stopping and all of that. So we're like, screw it, we're just going to put everything on pause for 4 or 5 months and then get stuck back into it. And so that's where we're at the moment. We're about to relaunch soon, which is exciting. And yeah, we've got big plans for the future. I've got 2 background projects I'm working on. One, I've just had like a fantastic idea for a YouTube channel, which I'm also not going to tell you, but you'll see soon. But I've just been doing some filming and stuff for that. And I think that has the potential of having a very wide reach. And then at the moment, I've just been so busy because we're moving out of this apartment, which has been my main home since moving to America. So moving next week, which has been a little stressful and very time consuming, but that's all right. So yeah, once I've done all that, I'm knuckling down and you'll see a lot from me. Yeah, I just don't think I'd be a good actor. I love acting, and I have a lot of appreciation for actors, but I don't think it's like, I don't really have a call to acting, which everyone always asks me like, oh, did you go to LA to act? I'm like, no. And I don't really have aspirations for reality either. First and foremost, I want to create business and solve problems in that sense. And then I just understand the benefit of social media and having, like a dedicated following and all of that, and how it can help in the business world. So that's my main calling. And I obviously want to one of my aspirations is just to make people's lives better. So there's a lot of ways you can go about that, but one of them is through business and filling needs. So that's my current go-to, and I want to look after my parents. That's about it. No, my dream, other than business and all that, my dream career is to be like an esports host or like a host at conventions and all of that jazz. Because I've always seen they usually get people that just suck. No shade to the hosts, but yeah, I want to come in and do it better. Oh, that's so tough. Favorite movie? Can I do favorite movies? Like favorite kind of. Okay, I love all the Marvel movies. First of all, that's my nerdy side. I think I've been to all of the New Zealand premieres of like the last 10 Marvel movies. So love all those MCU, but my favorite director is Christopher Nolan. He did Tenet, Inception, Interstellar. But my favorite movie of his is The Prestige, which I don't know if you've seen that. It's a good magician movie, and it's got Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman in it. It's incredible. So good movie to watch. Favorite show? Community. If you've ever heard of it. The last show I binge watched was an anime. My first time watching an anime, Naruto. And I just heard, I've been told for years, everyone's like, watch Naruto, it's great. I didn't realize it was like 750 episodes. So I started maybe like 2 or 3 months ago and just binged the shit out of it. And I just finished recently. And I'm like, that's enough shows for a while. I'm gonna take a breather and get productive again.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.